To start Navy SEAL training, just as if you would if you wanted to be in a law enforcement unit, if you wanted to play sports for a certain team, there's an entry-level test, is our PST, which is a physical screening test. This physical screening test, the PST, basically is a set guideline for people to enter the program, right, and start SEAL training. The reason I'm talking about the PST myth in this video is because of this. I've trained lots of people to get ready for the military and more so to go to SEAL training. And one of the biggest questions that guys have for me when they come to this is, what do I need to do to get my scores better? Like, you know, hey, when we do the test, like, are they gonna grade us like this? Or, hey man, when I do the pull-ups, like if I do this technique, like is that cool if I do this technique? Or when I do the swim, everything's like, the people usually come to me with this very narrow focus on, if I can just pass the PST, I'm gonna be good to go, right? And the PST, the importance of this, from the way they're approaching me with it, is way off. The PST is just a baseline test just to see if you can have your foot in the door to start the SEAL training. So the problem here is the focus is on score. How do I do this for the score? What do I do this for the score? And the score is such a small part, right? The PST, passing the PST doesn't make you get through SEAL training, right? That's not the magic trick, you know? The Achilles heel of defeating buds is getting a good PST score. But what happens is a lot of guys get fixated on this, and they get so tunnel vision on this PST score that they come into the training with a false sense of security or a false reality. There's been almost every client that I've had, that I've trained to go to buds, I've been able to help them get a better time, to get in better shape than I was going into the program. One of my students, or one of my clients, had recently gone through the SEAL training a few years back. And when he got out there, he sent me a message after Hell Week. So Hell Week is this 5-6 day long big physical endurance challenge, and we'll talk about that in another video. But if you're not familiar with Hell Week, if this is the first time you're hearing about the SEALs and stuff like that, it's basically the mental toughness part. It's like your rite of passage part of the SEAL training, to see if you are truly a warrior, if you'll do whatever it takes to win. And it's 6 days, it's just grueling. So anyway, we have this guy, or he has this guy in his class, and he's like, dude, Rich, this is the craziest thing. You're so right on, it's the mentality, your mindset helps you make it through, not your PST scores. Because we have this dude who is this amazing athlete. The instructors were like, this guy is insane, right? All the students in his class were like, dude, this guy's insane. So my client, he calls me up and he's like, dude, the craziest thing happened. He had just graduated Hell Week. He had just made it through, right? And he's like, we had this guy who almost set a record for the fastest swim on the PST test, right? He ran a sub 6 minute mile for 1.5 miles. He did over 100 push-ups in 2 minutes, over 100 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and did over 30 dead hang pull-ups. And I'm like, holy crap, this dude like Universal Soldier or something? And he's like, dude, it was crazy. He's like, I've never seen anyone, you know, an athlete like this before. And this is what happens. They get into Hell Week. The second day of Hell Week, he quits. Right? So you're basing your scores, you're basing like what your experience is going to be on this PST score, and it's wrong. It's wrong thinking. Because this is just an entry-level test to see, are you physically capable of even keeping up with this training program or not? If you can't pass this PST test, then I don't know if you're physically capable of doing all the other things we're going to be asking of you. Because once you actually get to buds, that PST, that's out the window. You go from doing a 1.5 mile run for time, now you're doing a 4 mile run for time. You go from doing a, quarter to half mile swim to now you're doing a 2-mile ocean swim. You're not counted on push-ups or pull-ups anymore, but you're doing a lot of them all the time, right? So this test that we get so caught up on, once we actually get to the program, it really becomes irrelevant. And I remember being in boot camp, right? So I'm there at 18 years old, just turned 18, and 147 pounds, and we come into the big fitness center up in Great Lakes, Illinois, for boot camp. And there's this dude Henderson, right? I'm not gonna put his first name out there, but this dude Henderson, right? This dude looks like he came off like the cover of Men's Health. He's just 215 pounds, just chiseled, jacked, and you're like looking at him, and all the dudes are just like, damn, is that what I'm supposed to look like? Is that what a Navy SEAL looks like? Because I'm looking at me and I'm like, I don't look like that, right? And this dude's super cocky. He comes through and he's kind of like this other guy. I don't know if this other guy that my buddy was telling me about was cocky or anything like that. But this guy comes through. He busts out over 20 pull-ups on the test. Meanwhile, we have some guys who are struggling to do 6, and he's sitting there making fun of them and being like, you guys are in the wrong place. This is for men. Like, you guys are a bunch of wimps and all this kind of stuff, and making these comments. He's like, you're never going to make it. Think you're in the wrong place, buddy. Making all these comments. And it's very easy to let someone like that get into your head. Because where I was at 147 pounds coming into this training program, and here I am looking around and seeing a lot of guys a lot of the guys who try out for buds have already been to college. So the class is kind of like split. It's like half the dudes are in their early to mid 20s, and then the other half of us are like 18, straight out of high school. So there's this gap. So I'm looking at these guys who are, much more developed than I am at this time. They got a bigger build, they look much stronger, and I'm looking around and I'm like, damn, if that's what I'm supposed to look like, this is a bad start, right? They're gauging through. I pass the test, move on, go to buds, right? Obviously. So we're out there. There's a class ahead of us. We're in class 236. The class ahead of us, 235, this dude Henderson is in that class. And I remember one day, as we're in the indoc phase, so like 5 weeks prior to starting the SEAL training, you're out there and you're just doing cold water training, and you're learning how to pick the boats up and how to run with the boats on your head and how to do log PT. So when you actually start first phase, there's no excuse for what's taking you so long because you don't know what to do. They've already taught you what to do, right? So they've taught you how they're gonna beat you so that they can then beat you smoothly once you get into first and second phase, right? So he's in first phase. And I remember coming down the beach and we're jogging to lunch, right? And I see this dude all by himself, not with his class, coming down the beach, and he's shuffling and real slow shuffle, and his head's down and he's moping. And as we get closer, I'm like, damn dude, that looks like Henderson, right? And sure as hell, as we run by, it's like, dude, Henderson, where are you going? Your class is that way. And you could just see it in his eyes. Like he was just defeated, just broke down, and he was on his way to go ring the bell and quit. You could see it in his face. Now here's this dude who looks like he just came off the cover of Men's Health, whose scores on the PST crushed all the dudes when we were going through boot camp trying out for the SEAL program. This guy crushed all of us. And then here, when he was actually faced with some real challenges, when he was really tested on things that weren't push-ups and sit-ups, right? It got to him and they broke him and he was on his way out. So the thing is, right now, the people who are training, that like Naval Special Warfare, as they recruit these new people for the program, man, they're going to the Ironman competitions and they're grabbing the best athletes. They're going to college wrestling teams and college swimming teams, and they're recruiting like the top of the line athletes. The people who are making it into the training right now based on the PST, like where before people were trying to pass the test, guys are crushing the PST now. And now you might pass and not get taken on, right? Like I don't even know if you took the scores that I had making it going into buds, I don't even know if I would have been picked up for the program, because there's so many people competing right now and the scores are so damn strong. But this is the thing. Good PST scores don't make it through buds. Your will, your mentality, your fight, your desire, all these other things we're going to talk about in all these videos is what drives you through there, right? That mentality and that mindset is what makes you make it through buds. The PST score is just a marker. It's just some way to gauge where are you at. So this is what you need to understand. If you set your goals and you're dedicated and you're persistent, right, and consistent in chasing your dream and doing what it takes, putting in the work, by default, your scores will get better. You have to be willing to give up some things that maybe you don't want to give up. Maybe you're in high school or college and you're having trouble with those scores. It's not a problem of how do I do more push-ups. It's maybe you need to change your diet. Maybe you need to let go of some of those foods that you're eating and some of that kind of stuff. Maybe you got to stop going to so many parties at night and drinking so much alcohol, right, and staying up till 2 or 4 a.m. because you need to get more recovery time so that way your body can recover so that you can do more push-ups. If you're focused on the act, the physical act of doing push-ups, maybe that's why you're hitting the wall, right? It's the mindset. It's your putting together goals. It's setting priorities. It is the mindset that you put, right, and the infrastructure that you lay down for your training program and for what it is that you're willing to give up, because we can't do all things at once. So what are you going to do to help increase those scores and get the stuff that you need so you can get into the program? But if you think just getting by and getting into the program, getting your foot in the door is now your golden ticket, you're going to be very disappointed when you get to Coronado. If you think you can stroll through life like that, right, you're going to be very disappointed incrementally along the way, because we don't just glide through life by meeting minimum standards, right? The minimum standards of the PST score to get your foot in the door is just to see if you could even possibly hang. You want to be crushing those scores. You want to have a foundation built so that way you cross that line and you pass it, but you've already passed it and you're ready to go on to those 4-mile runs. You're ready to go on to those 2-mile swims and above and beyond that. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to endure to win? Why do so many people not like to run? Now, the number one thing that people come to me with challenges for passing the PST is running. Running's hard. People don't like to run because it's hard. But running is mainly mental. It is a huge mind game. Your body can keep going, right? Your heart may feel like it's going to explode, right? But you tell yourself to stop because of the discomfort of running, right? The discomfort of your heart pounding and being short of breath. It's very uncomfortable to run hard. So that's why so many people shortchange it and they just give up, okay? So we have to be mentally strong. We have to do what it's going to take, right? Remember, we want to come into this with confidence, but don't be cocky. We want to be confident in our ability. We want to be confident that the program that we've put in place and our disciplined actions will put us in a position that we can blow by this PST score and we'll be mentally prepared and disciplined to start the SEAL training. If you come into the training cocky, you're going to get cut down. When we look at this physical screening test, it could be for SEAL training, it could be to be an athlete for a college team, it could be joining the law enforcement or one of the other military branches, or maybe you're trying to get on an executive team or something like that. The main thing here is starting to set priorities. The physical act of putting in the repetitions or doing the workout is the easy part of this. The hardest part is setting up the goals, right? And usually to do this, right? We need to give something else up, like we were mentioning in the video. So what is it that you're willing to give up? Okay? And we hate giving up things, but we get caught in a routine in our lives. We're very pattern driven, and we have strongholds, and we have things that are holding us back. If we're not moving forward, we're losing ground. Staying in the same position is not getting us any closer to our goal, because we're losing time. So if we're not making progress toward our goal, we're actually losing. So we need to start prioritizing what things are really important in this process of me reaching my goal. And if it doesn't fall into that, yes, this is important, I need to keep this, right? This is getting me closer to my goal. If it's not, then I got to toss it, right? That needs to go to the back of the list. And by doing this, prioritizing what it is that I need to do, whether it's through sleep, whether it's through diet, whether it's through my fitness routine, right? Whether it's, you could fill in the blank for what it is that you're trying to achieve. But there's a very simple formula, right? It could be studying. There's a very simple formula that you need to reach that goal of passing that test, whatever that test is for you. The challenging part for us is putting into priority that we take out other things that we may enjoy but are counterproductive to us reaching our goal. And it's so hard for us to let go of those things, but we need to. So I would ask you this: what are the 5 things in your life right now that are holding you back from reaching your goal? What are the 5 things that are stealing your time, that are stealing your energy, that are keeping you from reaching your goal? Who are the people that you are allowing to influence your life, that are taking control over your mind, that are manipulating you, that are keeping you from putting in the time and doing the necessary things that you know that you need to do to reach your goal, but you're allowing their influence to persuade you to stay in the same pattern, to stay in the same rhythm that's stopping you from reaching your goal right now? Be honest with yourself. Maybe there's more than 5. Maybe there's less, but I'm pretty sure you could find at least 5 things right now. And if you make those priority, if you solidify that, and you put into your goal and into your routine, you allow that to take priority, and you push this other stuff out, I guarantee you, you will see the results reflect in the physical action of, can I produce more, whether that's for a business thing or whether that's my push-ups or my run time. So good luck. We're rooting for you.